Okay. All right, Maria and Denise.
Yes. Well, I think we should give a little bit more time to let people get on. Um,
You want to start at 7:05, Maria? Just
yeah,
start.
that sounds like a good.
Okay. All right.
Okay. We'll give a few more minutes.
Maria, I'm going to step away for 1 second.
Okay, we'll
Okay,
wait for you. We're going to give everyone a few more minutes to sign in to the meeting. So, and then we'll get started in about 2 more minutes. Okay, welcome back.
Thank you.
Give another minute, see if we can get anyone else. Okay, it's 7:05 and we're going to begin the meeting now. Mr. Garner, you're recording it, correct? Yes, thank you. So welcome to everyone. Thank you for coming. My name is Maria Mackey, and I am one of the council members for District 4 for the City of College Park, and my colleague Denise Mitchell is here. And we also have some representatives from Washington Gas, and they will be doing a presentation for us, and then we will have a time of question and answers. So I would like to give the floor to Ms. Dominique Branch from Washington Gas and allow her to give us a presentation. Thank you, Dominique.
Thank you so much, Councilmember Mackey and Councilmember Mitchell and Mr. Gardner for having us here this afternoon. We wanted to share with the residents a presentation of the upcoming Stride project that's going to be taking place in the College Park Woods area. So I will share my screen. Can you all see the presentation?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, so I will go through the presentation and we will take questions at the end of the presentation. So again, good evening, everyone. Thank you for having us here this evening. Again, we wanted to talk to you about an upcoming project in your neighborhood. So introductions of my team that's here on the call this evening with us. Again, myself, Dominique Branch. I'm one of the community outreach managers for Maryland. My boss, Monica West, who's on the call. From our construction side, we have Reggie Wilson and Dave Thomas, as well as the field operations side, we have Chad Bartlett joining us this evening. Just a little bit of history about Washington Gas. Washington Gas has served the DC metropolitan area for more than 170 years. Our mission is to deliver clean and efficient natural gas safely, reliably, and at a reasonable cost. We currently have over 1 million customers in the District, Maryland, and Virginia, and approximately 461 meters located in Maryland alone. Safety is our number one priority. We'd like to remind our customers and the general public that if they smell natural gas or if they have an emergency involving natural gas, to leave the area immediately, call 911 and call Washington Gas at our leak line, which is 844 WASH Gas. Using natural gas safely. Natural gas is non-toxic, colorless, odorless, and combustible. We put mercaptan in our natural gas. It's added as an unpleasant odorant to help detect leaking natural gas. Just remember, you are a very important part of our safety program. Always remember the 3 R's: recognize, react, and respond. How we maintain safe and a reliable system. Washington Gas responds 24/7, 365 days a year, basis to investigate and make safe all odor complaints. Periodic leak surveys are done every 3 years to make sure that 100% of our facilities are safe from leakage. Distribution Integrity Management Program, DIMP. That program enhances the safety by identifying and reducing gas distribution pipeline integrity risks. Annual replacement programs such as STRIDE, the one that we spoke about, is a proactive replacement based on system analysis of leak and maintenance history as well as other factors. How we maintain safe and reliable system continued. All maintenance work is scheduled in accordance with industry standards depending on the nature of the leak and are based on hazards to persons, life, or property. These repair standards are in place to serve the safety of our communities. How we respond to leaks. Identification
Excuse
of
me,
leaks. Yes.
Dominique,
Yes.
are your slides supposed to be advancing?
Oh, you can't see that. Oh, I'm so sorry. Let me see. Maybe I need to, let's see. Oh dear, let me try that again. Can you see it now?
There we go.
Okay. How we respond to leaks, can you see that?
Yes.
Okay. How we respond to leaks. Identification of leaks originate through an annual survey and are reported by the general public. Every gas odor complaint made by the public is promptly investigated. The correct remediation technique is determined by the leak investigation and the nature of the leak. All repair work is scheduled in compliance with federal guidelines. It's not letting me advance. Okay, there we go. So once we come out to, if the leak is called in and we do come to the area, a door hanger will be left behind for the person who called the leak in, and I think the adjacent homes to where the leak may have been called from. Recent activity in your area: within the past 45 days, Washington Gas responded to 8 gas leak odor calls in College Park. In that same time frame, we have made 25 leak repairs. To date, there are 30 open leaks in the area. These open leaks have been investigated and deemed non-hazardous and will be scheduled for repair in the coming months. Future activity. Throughout the country, utilities are seeking accelerated replacement of aging infrastructure. Maryland has joined the majority of states with accelerated replacement programs by creating a law called Maryland Stride, which allows for proactive accelerated replacement of aging infrastructure. Washington Gas is proactively replacing its aging infrastructure in accordance with the accelerated program in the District, Maryland, and Virginia. You can find more information on our website, and we can provide that link after the call if you don't catch it now. Just a quick rundown of Natural Gas Infrastructure 101. As you see, you'll see this wide yellow line here in the street. That's our main. And the second one is the service line, which runs from the main up to the house. And then the number 3 is the meter buildup where the service line connects to. So as the project is being done, the work will start here, then go here, and then up to your home. Project overview and scope of work for this project. We will be replacing vintage mechanical coupled main pipes, VMC, with Program 3 or the Maryland Stride Initiative. Replacement of the service lines with exception of post-1975 plastic. Roughly 50 customers will be directly affected by this project. Ways your service may be affected are full-length replacement of service and transfer of service. We'll have about, I guess this is 30 customers that will have the meter move or upgrade. Proposed schedule of this work is June 2021 and will run through December 2021. And we always say weather permitting. So, if we've got a lot of rainy days, then that will slow down the work. Once the cold months set in, if there's any snow or, any ice, that will slow down the work as well. But for now, our projection is June to December. So here is a map of where the project area will be. So as you can see here, the red highlighted area, Limestone, Woolford Road, and Woolford Court is where the project will take place. A quick construction overview of how the project will flow. The construction method: project involves direct burying new main and replacing associated services. The process is installation and activation of new gas main and roadway or behind the curb right away. Temporary shut off of gas during the replacement or changeover of the service. Inside meters will be moved outside. And relining of gas appliances will be done after the service replacement is completed. For the restoration period of the project, private property and yards will be restored as close to their original state as possible. Road restoration will occur in sections as construction is completed. Temporary restoration will take place. That's when we put down the coal patch or the hot mix. And then after that, we will schedule for permanent restoration. Here are a few pictures of what some of this work could look like in your neighborhood. You know, the main going down the middle of the street. That's how it looks when we open up the road. And then the other pictures, what it'll look like as we close up the road. And these are some pictures of once the service line is run from the main to the house, we'll dig the, you know, we will have to dig in your yard to run that line. So you can see here what some of that digging looks like and what some of that patchwork will look like with the temporary restoration. Customer experience, what our customers can expect. So once right before the project starts, each affected customer will receive a notification letter, which will include our current COVID guidelines. Missed utility markings will be laid down by Missed Utility. You will start to see no parking signs several days in advance of construction. Main installation behind the curb or in the roadway. Coordinator will schedule service replacements. Your gas will be interrupted during that time. And again, relight technician scheduled for that evening to come to turn the gas back on and relight the appliances. The private property restoration should take place at least 1 week after the project is completed. And then, of course, the permanent road restoration will follow. And again, for this particular project, the points of contact will be Reggie Wilson, Randy Lane, and myself. So we will make sure that we get this contact information, you know, to you all to have on hand should anything come up during that time. And then last, thank you very much. And I think we can open up the floor for any questions.
Dominique, I don't see any questions, but let me ask you, because I went through this the last time with you, and I know we did have concerns about notification about parking.
Mm-hmm.
How will you be going about that this time, especially we have Woodford Court where there's a cul-de-sac and there's cars parked there. How will you give them proper notification about when to move their cars and when the project finished so they can move their cars back in there next to their home or in their driveway?
I will turn that over. Reggie, do you want to take that one?
Sure. Yeah, I'll answer. We'll place signs out about 48 hours in advance, letting them know the time frame and the days we need to move their car. So if it's Monday through Friday between 8 and say 5 o'clock, just using those times as a reference. And then, you know, they can park back in the evenings, but we'll need them moved again in the mornings by 8 a.m.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, thank you very much.
I see some questions starting
Yes.
to come through.
Mr. Batten, and if I'm mispronouncing the last name, I am so sorry.
No, you're great. Thank you. I have a variety of questions, but most specifically, I just want to clarify the time frame. The flyer that we got delivered Friday has this saying that it will take about 4 months, but what your presentation just said is it'll take 7 months. And so just looking to clarify how long we should expect this to be.
Yeah, this is Reggie Wilson again. So we anticipate about 4 months for the work, but we build in that extra time for our final restoration, which includes the hardscape and the repaving of your roads.
Thank you. Can I ask another question just while I have
Sure,
one?
go ahead.
Mm-hmm.
So as Maria and Denise know, I've got some safety concerns about the work that's already ongoing. 2 weeks ago, Ferguson trenching lost control of a tractor trailer, went through my lawn, tore up a lot of garden beds and a retaining wall, almost hit the house. Since then, I've reported multiple issues with crews using equipment improperly, not having work areas flagged appropriately. On Friday, the crew had cut a dozen 15+ pits in the road. There were no flaggers at either end of the street. They were up on limestone while these exposed pits were in the middle of the road where cars could get stuck in them, to be frank. And so, you know, I just wanted to express those concerns while we're here. I guess it's not so much a question unless you have something you'd like to say on that.
Well, I want to say thank you for those questions. I guess my concern is what type of quality assurance and safety protocols will you be using? Because that is that's a very big concern.
It's Reggie Wilson again. I appreciate you, Mr. Madden, bringing that to our attention. I'll definitely raise those concerns. And to answer the question, we use DOT approved traffic control plans, so they should be set up. There's an outline plan that they should be following, and I'll ensure that my team addresses that daily with them to make sure we are following the approved plan.
Thank you, Mr. Wilson. I know there was a comment about the information is late, and to that extent, I am concerned, I know, and my colleague, Councilman Mackey, was concerned that the notification came on the heels of when you were getting ready to embark on the project versus giving us weeks to have this information disseminated to our residents. So I guess my ask to you is this: as we move forward with the project, if you could please possibly, and I did this last time, give myself and Councilman Mackey some updates so we can send out to the residents so everybody's aware of what's going on in a timely fashion. I think that will help people ease their concerns about the late notification. The streets already been gutted almost in order to get ready for this project. So that would help a lot. And just something as moving forward for any other project you do, the communication is paramount. Residents don't want to feel like they in 24 hours here I got to get ready for a project. Let's get ready to embark and tear up their roads, and that means their quality of life. So if we can work on that collectively together, that would be fantastic. I appreciate that.
Yes, we certainly can do that.
Maria, did you see anything or anything you wanted to add to?
Yeah. Well, I hope that no one's going to be shy because this is your opportunity to ask questions. But some of the questions that that we received over email were when you are doing this meter changing in the houses, the 30 houses that you mentioned, how will it be conducted, and what should the residents expect? Because you say meter change, and you know, many residents feel apprehension on people coming into their homes, and especially in this climate that we still have you know, the COVID pandemic going on. So would someone like to take that?
Sure, this is Reggie. I'll take that again. I'm going to speak in general terms. So every house or residence is going to be unique. So what we'll do is when our coordinator comes to each house and schedules with the residents, they will go in, explain to them in detail what's going to happen. Because some situations we will have to get carpenters involved if the meters have been you know, in their basements, they've got, you know, cabinets built around them or whatever case. So they will lay it out with the homeowner the day that they schedule it, so and explain in details of what's going to take place so they're well aware before it takes place.
And that information will be provided in the when they receive the it should be in the customer notification letter in the process, the steps that will take place.
Excuse me, good evening. This is Mr. Arnold. May I ask a question? This is to WSSC, and if anybody's representing the contractor.
This is Washington Gas.
Washington Gas.
I'm sorry, I misspoke. Washington Gas, sorry.
That's okay.
Pardon about that. It's been a long day, sorry, no excuses. My concern is there's a high risk factor here because of the incident that has happened. And to let somebody into my home that might not do quality work, and with the current trend with COVID and that kind of stuff, is there a protocol that y'all are going to have on how to provide or what to provide to the homeowner in advance?
Yes, this is Reggie. What type of protocol are you referencing?
Risk mitigation protocol.
Yeah, so if you're referring to the COVID, we will wear our PPE, practice social distancing, and all that will be outlined in the COVID notification. It should have came with your notification of construction. If not, we can be sure to get you that.
I didn't get a copy of that.
Okay.
And another point that I have is during the delivery of these massive utility equipment from the contractor, there was no one on the contractor's side assisting him. He was all by himself. And I had asked him a question if there was anybody else going to be assisting him. Afterwards, after the incident, there was tons of people. But at the time when this happened, there was no one. And it seems that there's not a safety plan.
Yeah, so speaking on the one incident, I'm not familiar with all the ins and outs. I know there was an incident. I've been in constant conversations with our contractor, Ferguson Trenching, to identify what happened and what we can do moving forward to eliminate those kind of things. So again, appreciate you bringing to our attention. Absolutely.
So can you address something? It happened. Somebody could have gotten killed.
Understood 100%. Our contractor took immediate action, pulled that professional driver out of the field.
No. He was back the next day.
Yep, they sent him
He's been back.
for a drug screening, which he was able to pass. So they did take a step on that. Absolutely.
But he was back the next day and he's still back on the job. That's your risk mitigation? Somebody could almost kill someone and they're still on the job?
So I can follow up with the contractor again. Like I said, they pulled him out of the field like on any incident. They sent him for a drug screening, drug and alcohol screening, which both came back negative. And after their investigation, it was determined that there was a faulty line on their brake line. So they figured there was really no faulty hit. So that's why they brought him back.
Oh, okay. So if somebody wouldn't got killed, somebody wouldn't been hit, a car totaled, this is your excuse?
No, sir. It's not an excuse. I'm just stating the facts, and we did identify it and talk to our contractors for, when they have deliveries moving forward, they should definitely have more than one person.
So, Mr. Wilson, this is why it's a concern that we all are communicating together in regards to issues that are, especially safety issues that arise. And it's important that communications brought back to the city engineer, as well as the council members, to relay that to the residents. If you have a protocol, then we need to be made aware of what the information as best as possible. But that's a great concern when you're talking about safety to our residents and safety to the workers who are going to be working on this project. So I think that there does need to be some more due diligence with this. I would ask you respectfully and to get back to our interim city manager and our engineer and to let us know so we can inform our residents accordingly. I would definitely appreciate that.
Understood, and we'll definitely take that as a takeaway.
Hello, I have a question. So I wanted to know, I was the one who put flyers in the doors on Friday. And so I walked the area and I had somebody ask me, when exactly are they supposed to move their car, and what kind of warning will they be given? Because there's signs out, now about moving their cars, and, we have a lot of cars on our streets, and people are, they don't see work going on, so they park their car in front of their house. They're afraid about, will their car be towed? And so, and we also have people that English isn't their first language. So how will those issues be addressed? Like if a car is left on the street, and if someone obviously isn't understanding, because I haven't heard from any of the residents that they received the letter that you sent before the work started. I think that Mr. Arnold mentioned that he didn't receive it, and no other resident told me that they had received anything. So could you please help us to understand what will be done about car removal and getting the word out to people when the actual, when they have to move their cars off the streets?
Yeah, absolutely. I'll try to answer all of your questions. If I miss one, feel free to ask me again. So for the letters, I will make sure that the letters, each resident does receive a letter. So second question, different Spanish speaking population. We do have some on staff at Washington Gas that works in the construction field, and along with our contractors do as well. So I don't really foresee any big issues there with the language barrier. If we run into one, we will, handle that on a case by case. For the no parking signs, they will move those throughout the job as the job progresses. So the job, that if they're going to work Monday through Friday in this area, they'll say Monday through Friday, we need the work zone to be free. I'm just throwing a time out there, 9 to 5. So after 5, you can move your car back in, but we need it to be moved before 9 a.m. the next morning.
I think we have Mr. Batten. You have another question?
Yep, thank you. So I wanted to comment too that I didn't receive any notification letter. I found out about the gas main or about the gas meter replacement from Craig Weaver of Ferguson Trenching after the truck incident. And so I've still received no notification of any of this work. And especially if people are going to come into my home, that step never happened. Further, Mr. Wilson, if you're the appropriate person to talk to, I'd like to connect with you after this, because it seems like you've been seriously misinformed about what happened with that crash and what the driver's actions were. So I really need to connect with you, not in public like this, please.
Absolutely. Was you able to get my contact information when you had it up on the screen, or Dominique could show it again?
If somebody could post it in the chat, then everybody would have a copy.
Perfect. Yep, I will do that. That's a perfect.
And absolutely, feel free to give me a call or email me this evening.
Thank you.
Mr. Wilson, do you periodically come on site? And if not, can I highly recommend that maybe you do that once a week? And if myself and Councilmember Mackey are available, we can be there, as I think that might help with some of the concerns.
Yep, absolutely. I can make myself pretty available. I do have a supervisor on site daily, but if you would like to meet me once a week, I feel be more than happy to meet you on site once a week.
I would like that. I definitely would. Thank you.
You just let me know what time works best for you.
Okay, I'll get together with my colleague, Councilman Mackey, and we'll make sure we'll have a time that's conducive for everyone, and that you can see, and residents that may be there may want to talk to you face to face, social distancing, and to express some of their concerns and or questions.
Absolutely.
Mr. Batten, you have any more questions? I see it. Okay, just want to make sure.
I just put in the chat our contact information.
Thank you, Dominique. I appreciate you.
You're welcome.
And the rest of your team.
Yeah. Yep, I can't do without them.
Are there any other questions for the good of the order? I know everyone has other things to do, but for myself and Councilmember Mackey and from the City of College Park staff, we want to make sure that everyone had an opportunity. That's my dog in the back if you hear her. had an opportunity just to ask questions and hear the presentation. This is going to be ongoing, but we're going to work together on this collectively together.
Denise, this is Mr. Arnold again. May I ask one more question?
Sure, sir. Go ahead.
Thank you very much. I have one question, I guess, for the representatives. Last Friday, there was someone who parked in the courtyard in the middle of the courtyard or the court, and there's a porta potty. I understand that. But he was there for 6 hours, and I was professional, I was polite, and I just asked him, like the other workers, they've parked on the side, keeping traffic open and all that. This employee basically said to me, and I've emailed the representatives, I can park wherever I want and do whatever I want because I have the right to do it. This is a work site. Is this okay?
It's very unacceptable. And I apologize profusely for that comment being made to you. And I'm sorry for Maria for jumping in, but you know how I am about respect and courtesy. If we need to work collectively together in regard to parking, we have the community clubhouse where they can actually park there and walk down. If we need to do that, we will figure out a way. So it's not causing you a problem getting into your car and getting out to do your daily tasks. This is about making it ease for you. So we will take care of that situation.
Okay.
We would definitely.
Thank you. But it seems to be that the contractor is almost acting like a bully, that we have to put up with abuse. And
You don't.
They have the freedom to do whatever they want. And the owners of the residence just have to put up with it. And shouldn't the contractor be held to a standard?
Yes. And I'm saying yes, and I'm sorry, Ms. Branch.
No,
Or
absolutely.
Mr. But we will get to the bottom of it.
Because my concern is in the court, I have an elderly parent. Ms. Kushner is elderly. God forbid if an emergency vehicle has to come up to the courtyard, then what? It seems
so
that
correct.
the contractor doesn't think of these issues. And the residents are having to sort of beg and present all these issues because there seems that there's no risk mitigation. There's no thought into this.
So, Mr. Guevara, I think what you have brought up are good points, and I think it is going to be incumbent upon myself and Councilmember Mackey and Mr. Gardner to work with Ms. Branch. And if that means we have a meeting tomorrow to discuss this through and talk about this, because I'm sorry you don't see me because my Wi-Fi connection is bad, but my facial expression is not happy at all. So we are definitely going to get to the bottom of it, and we will be knocking on doors to talk to residents to ask their concerns. So this is not going to be happening here in our community. It will not be happening.
Thank you very much, because I have met some neighbors and I asked them, like Maria Denise, you stated today, there's tons of people that aren't aware, that didn't get the information. And it seems very odd and sort of unprofessional to come into a neighborhood and just cause havoc.
Correct. And when you start off, as my mom would say, when you start off in a deficit, you will continue to be in one unless you get all minds and hearts together.
Yeah. Yeah,
So-
we will definitely work through these issues because, like you said, I mean, this project is, going to be going on for a while, and we don't want to continue going through this entire, process during the entire project. So we will get together and work out these issues.
Hello, Ms. Mitchell. Just want to chime in here. So my name is David Thomas. I'm the Director of Construction. So I have direct oversight for all Washington Gas utility work as it relates to the planned construction work. So specifically with our contractors and obviously with this project in the state of Maryland. So I just want to apologize to everybody on the call. So just some background. So Washington Gas has a robust safety culture and safety expectations. So to hear on the call that we had utility workers and contractors and representatives of Washington Gas out on the streets without flaggers, without the appropriate personnel, notification doesn't appear to be cascaded out appropriately, whether it be the project notifications or our COVID protocols. We have severely got off on the wrong foot. That isn't my expectation. That isn't the gas company's expectation. So just rest assured, I'll be dealing with these first thing in the morning directly with my team with an internal meeting. Then I'll be setting up a meeting with the contractor to address their poor performance. And then Ms. Mitchell, we can set up a meeting with Reggie, myself, Dominique, and Monica, and we can provide kind of weekly updates or bi-weekly, whatever the community thinks is necessary, just to make sure that we transition and get this thing turned around. Because again, to hear this information on the call, I'm a little disappointed in kind of what's happened up to this point. So I will definitely take the blame on that. And my contact information is in the slides as well. So if anybody needs to reach out to me or needs a response, feel free to do so.
I have one more question or a response that I think everybody would benefit from hearing. May I?
Absolutely.
Does the construction division, do they not have to show the limits of disturbance on a plan per property?
So on our plans, we don't show the LOD or the limits of disturbance. What we show and the plans are submitted directly to the permittee, which in this case is College Park, but they show the right of way, so the limits of the right of way, and then they show our existing facility. So as Dominique showed in some of the previous slides, the main or the feeder line down the street, and then the corresponding what we call the service laterals, the connections from the main feeder from the main to the meter itself.
Yes, I understand that. I do construction too, but it would be beneficial to actually see a plan with the LOD, the limits of disturbance, the right of way, the easements. So people would have a better perspective of how their lawn, their house is going to be impacted. A lot of the knowledge is power. And I think informing the public would be very beneficial.
Yep, so I would agree with you. Communication is key to your point, right? So we historically and we typically don't share that information. There's some privacy and some safety issues as they relate to sharing or directly sharing the existing location of our facilities. But on a one-on-one basis, I would set the expectation for my team and my contractor again that we are meeting with all the affected residents. And when I say affected, I mean those customers who are having their gas service laterals replaced and the gas interrupted for a short period of time while we replace those services. And we review the scope of work. So where the existing line is, how we will be replacing the existing lateral and what the affected area is.
Yes, because I think it would benefit everybody individually. Once you approach each person that's going to be impacted, like if you could show them if they have mature trees, if those tree roots are going to be impacted, how their foundation might be impacted, and so on.
Yep. So it's one thing, and not to interrupt you, I apologize. One thing that wasn't covered on the call was on the contractor side, we do have an individual, it's a coordinator. So I know the name came up, Mr. Craig Weaver. So on this job, it would be Craig's job. Then once that main line, that feeder line is installed and what we call gassed out, or its gas is put on that feeder line, and we're ready to start replacing the individual laterals from the main to the meter locations themselves, that he's kind of boots on the ground interacting with the residents and knocking on doors to say, okay, Mr. and Ms. Smith, we'd like to replace your service. Here's the scope of work. Here's any interior work that needs to take place. If there's some landscaping or hardscaping behind the curb on the property. How do we avoid that? Or if there's no way to avoid it, what's the best means or method to accomplish our work with minimal impact to the residents?
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Thomas, and thank you everyone for your good questions. I think that this conversation has really given us a lot to think about and given us a lot of things to do. And I just want to assure the residents that Councilmember Mitchell and myself will be working along with our city manager to make sure that from here on we have better communication and more more success in getting things done. One of the things I was remembering as everyone was speaking, and I'll close with this thought, is we've been smelling gas in this area for a while, and so this is something that we need to have taken care of, because we don't want to have any further problems with it. So the city is really wants to work with Washington Gas to get this problem fixed with the minimum disruption to our residents. And what we will do is we will definitely stay on this. And I want to thank our Washington Gas team for coming and for giving us your contact information. And I wish you all a good night. And we will be keeping you informed.
Yes.
All
we'll
right,
be
everyone,
in
take
touch.
care.
Thank
Thank
you
you.
all.
Thank you,
Thank you
everyone.
all. Thank
Have
you.
a good evening.
Thank you.
Good night. Good night.
Bye.
Good night.